Well, Micah was super talented. I got him early in his career and he was just an enigma in many respects. The thing I remember about Micah most than anything is just his swagger. He just had this confidence, this air of confidence, even as a young player. And that's when I played with him when he was young, and that's what I really appreciated. He'd take things on. He's just super talented. Obviously, he could do all the skills, but he just had this air about him. That's what I remember about him most.
Well, I coached him in carnivals and also against the Victorian country, and obviously reflecting on his career at this stage from a coach's point of view, number one, tough, number two, talented, and number three, had a certain sort of ability to sort of go his own way, if you like, because when you're coaching players like Micah, who had, I think, great ability, don't interfere with them too much. I can certainly remember him sort of galloping around the ovals here in a very efficient way, and me sort of being, well, a coach spectator, if you like. But I always sort of felt that he could have had the credentials to probably play at a higher level, but having said that, was a very fine amateur player.
Oh, look, Micah was a sensational player back in the early to mid-90s. Ferocious at the ball, ultra tough, didn't mind a bit of a biff too with the opposition, and it always went down well with the opposition supporters. But no, he was an outstanding player in the mid-90s and would go down, I think, as one of old Melburnians' best players in the early to mid-90s.
He was a ruck rover or utility or midfielder, as they call it these days, and then would wander down to the forward line, and he was always ability to kick a goal just to make the change up for him. But most of the time he was in the middle and really making some damage from there. As a senior leader in the club in those days, to have this young guy, Micah held his own even as a young player, and he just, as I said, he just had this air about him, this confidence, and yet he was very humble. And I think things like this he would find quite embarrassing in many respects. But it was this dichotomy that he had about him, which was fascinating.
No, in the rooms, Micah was very confident, very self-assured. He had great confidence in himself, and that sort of portrayed out on the ground because he could do pretty much anything. He could play forward, back, on ball.
He often called himself the gun, or we called him the gun in fairness. And he started to live it, not only in his games, but whenever he kicked a goal, there was always this one through the crowd, as we love Micah to do.
Yeah, look, Micah definitely earned the respect of his peers, just through his performances week in, week out. And he didn't let the OMs down very often, and I know he didn't let the Big V down at all. So he thoroughly deserves his award today.
Micah, congratulations on being inducted as a Big V champion, and I certainly think very, very well deserved, and you should be very proud of that accolade, and one that is very well earned. So enjoy the day, enjoy the privilege of being a Big V champion.